Okay, everyone, welcome back for part 4 of Was Joseph Smith a False Prophet? What are you doing, Tizzy? Huh? Anyways, I know on part 3 I said part 4 on accident, so hopefully everybody got a good laugh out of that. This one is actually part 4, not that one. And hopefully everybody remembers. I've already said that I've vetted the book. We don't need to jump into this, but I want to talk about one today that in 38 years of being a member of the church, I had never heard this. And when I got this book a couple years ago, The False Prophecies of Joseph Smith, I did check into it. And, it's really interesting. I wonder how many LDS people out there actually knew this. Mike, I know you're the exception to the rule. You probably already knew it, so if you hear me, if you can hear me, just give me a thumbs up in the comments if you watch this video. But other than you, Mike, I wonder how many people out there actually knew this. So let's get into it. This is number 25 in the book, Joseph Smith, False Prophecies. David Whitmer was ordained to succeed Joseph Smith as LDS prophet. History of the Church, Volume 3, page 32, footnote by LDS historian B.H. Roberts, July 8, 1834. Subsequently, Joseph Smith, attempted what he called a reorganization of the church and called upon David Whitmer to take the presidency thereof, claiming that he was ordained by Joseph Smith on the 8th of July, 1834. As the prophet Joseph's successor. The prophet himself, according to the minutes of the High Council held in Far West on the 15th of March, 1838, referred to his ordaining of David Whitmer in July 1834, and this is the account of what he said. President Joseph Smith Jr. gave a history of the ordination of David Whitmer, which took place in July 1834 to be a leader or prophet to his church, which ordination was on condition, okay, let's see if we can see that there, was on condition that he, Joseph Smith Jr., did not live to God himself. President Joseph Smith Jr. approved of the proceeding of the High Council after hearing the minutes of the former councils. Okay, that's from Far West Record, page 108. So here we see a testimony of 3 witnesses. Don't confuse this with the testimony of 3 witnesses in the Book of Mormon. This is the 3 witnesses of the meeting. We cheerfully certify to all whom it may concern that we attended a general conference called at the instance of Joseph Smith in Clay County, Missouri on the 8th day of July, 1834, at the residence of Eldon Lyman White. And while the conference was in session, Joseph Smith presiding, he arose and said that the time had come when we must appoint his successor in office. Some have supposed that it would be Oliver Cowdery, but he said Oliver had lost that privilege in consequence of transgression. The Lord has made it known to me that David Whitmer is the man. David was then called forward, and Joseph and his counselors laid hands upon him and ordained to his station to succeed him. Let's see, did I read that wrong? And Joseph and his counselors laid hands upon him and ordained to his station to succeed him. Joseph then gave David a charge in the hearing of the whole assembly. Joseph then seemed to rejoice that the work was done, and said, Now, brethren, if anything should befall me, the work of God will roll on with more power than it has hitherto done. Then, brethren, you will have a man who can lead you as well as I can. He will be a prophet, a seer, a revelator, and translator before God. And it was signed Martin Harris, Leonard Rich, and Calvin Beebe. The Ensign of Liberty, December 1847, pages 43 and 44. And those of us who grew up in the LDS Church, we all know that, of course, Brigham Young became the second prophet 3.5 years after Joseph Smith's death. The author goes on to state there is another aspect of this prophecy that most everyone has overlooked. This prophecy was only one of 8 possible methods for succession to the presidency that Joseph Smith had established between 1834 and 1844. The first one is by a counselor in the first presidency, by a special appointment through the office of associate president. Number 4, by the presiding patriarch. Number 5, by the council of 50. Number 6, quorum of the 12 apostles. Number 7, by 3 priesthood councils. Number 8, by a descendant of Joseph Smith Jr. For more on those, you can see Sunstone Volume 6, pages 2 and 4, or 2 through 4. And then the author of the book goes on to state, for more information on the 8 possible methods of succession, see The Mormon Succession Crisis of 1844, BYU Studies, Winter 1976, pages 187 through 233 by D. Michael Quinn. I need to highlight that so I can remember to do some more research on that, because I've looked it up and I can't remember for sure off the top of my head. It's been too long ago. Anyways, in conclusion to this section here, the author states in section 132, verse 8, the God of Mormonism states, "Behold, mine house is a house of order, saith the Lord God, and not a house of confusion," providing 8 possible ways for determining the succession to the LDS presidency could create a lot of confusion. And I think that is true. Definitely think that is true. There's so many ways. I mean, I know people that have been members of the church their whole lives, and every time one of the presidents pass away and they're waiting to see who's going to be next, there's always somebody on the news comes out trying to explain how the next prophet is chosen. Even in church, I hear people in Sunday school, or I used to. I'm not a member anymore, obviously, but used to hear people talking about it in Sunday school. How do they pick the new prophet? Can we learn that? So, and then seems like everybody forgets that, and then when another prophet needs to be chosen, we forget again. We have to study again because we all forget, But anyways, but yeah, David Whitmer was not Joseph Smith's successor, and a lot of confusing ways of choosing, the successor. And God is not a God of confusion. So this I found this to be very interesting, because like I said, 38 years in the Mormon church, and I have never heard this. I had to leave the church to find out this information. And it's so interesting, the things that they allow to be taught in Sunday school, the things they allow to be spoken in sacrament meeting, the things that are hidden from us. I mean, you can find all this information on the church's website if you know where to look. The problem is they have all these little nooks and crannies where they stuff all the information, so it's all there. It's just hard to find. But if you do the digging, you can find it. But anyways, that's pretty much wraps up this video. Part 4 was Joseph Smith a false prophet? And I say the evidence points to yes, he was. And we are not to fear that false prophet or that dreamer of dreams. And we don't give any credit or credence to anything that he said or anything that he created, because he's a false prophet. The church has no power over us. We are children of God. Our relationship is with God, our Creator, and that's what matters. We don't need an organization to mediate between us and God, for we have a mediator already, and that's Yeshua the Messiah, Jesus Christ. So, God bless you guys. Love you. See you on the next one.